Hey everyone! Today we are going to talk about dividing decimals when the decimal is in both the dividend and the divisor. So this is a completely new skill. I do not think you learned this last year. The previous lessons you had learned last year, but this is going to be new. So on your graphic organizer, we are working on the last example. Like I said before, if you don't have the graphic organizer, just working in your notebooks. If you do have it, that is fabulous. So today's warm-up is going to be a little different. So I actually want you to get your calculator out. This is the one and only thing you can use your calculator for. So I actually want you to do all of these multiplication problems for me. So 4.453 times 1, 4.453 times 10, 4.453 times 100, and then 4.453 times 1,000. And I want you to look at the original number, which they're all 4.453. And then I want you to look at the new number and the decimal and kind of try to figure out a pattern of what happens. So pausing the video and figuring out these 4 problems now and looking for the pattern. Okay, so in all of these problems, for the first one, you should have just gotten 4.453. Nothing happened. It just stayed the same. For the second one, you should have gotten 44.53. The third one should be 445.3. And then the fourth one is 4,453. So I'm hoping that you noticed a pattern between the number of zeros, or like the power of 10 is what they're called, and the actual moving of the decimal. Since we have that base 10 number system, every time you multiply by a power of 10, it moves the decimal once to the right. So we have 1 0, the decimal moved once to the right. We have 2 zeros in 100, so you'll notice that the decimal moved 2 to the right. And then when we had 1, 2, 3 zeros, when you're multiplying by 1,000, the decimal moved 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So that is important because we're actually going to be doing that today. So keep that in mind. Anytime you multiply by a power of 10, the number of zeros tells you how many times you're moving the decimal. So that may not be new. I don't know if you've learned that before, but just a nice little fun math information for you. So reminder, we're going to do this example right now. Okay, so we're going to do 81.875 divided by 1.25. So the first number goes inside. So 81.875 divided by 1.25. So I want you to pause and write that in your notebook right now. Okay, now that you have this written down, I want you to actually watch what I do, and then I'll give you a second to do it in your notebook. So it's actually not possible or easy to divide numbers when you have a decimal in the divisor outside. You already learned how to divide when there is a decimal in the dividend, and that was literally just popping up the decimal, super easy. But if the decimal is outside, not easy. Cannot do it. I don't want you to try to even figure that out. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to multiply by a power of 10 to get the decimal out of the divisor. So I need to move this decimal 2 times to the right to get it out of here. So that would be 2 zeros. So I'm actually going to multiply that by 100, and it will become 125. Okay, so I just moved the decimal 2 places to the right by multiplying by 100. But if you do that in the divisor, which you always have to move it in the divisor, you also have to do it to your dividend. So we're also going to multiply our dividend by 100, and we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So that becomes 8,187.5. Okay, so if you notice, this problem got super messy. I don't like writing on work that is messy, so I went and rewrote the problem with my new numbers, with the decimals moved underneath. Yes, I understand it's one more step, but that's going to be the best way to get you to success. So I want you to write it again, just so you have a clean slate to work with and it doesn't get crazy with all of the work. So from here, we're just going to divide like normal with the decimal and the dividend, which you already know how to do, which is awesome. So the only step you really don't know how to do is moving the decimal. So we'll do it a couple times and hopefully you'll get used to it. So first step is to pop up the decimal in the quotient. And then we are going to divide like normal. So does 125 go into 8? Nope. Does 125 go into 81? Nope. Does it go into 818? It does, but now we have to figure out how many times. So I'm just going to guess 6 times. So we're going to guess and check with 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. So 750. So I think I can get closer. So 125 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16, 17, 875. Oh, that actually goes over, so I cannot get closer. So it's always good to check. So it goes in 6 times. 6 times 125 is 750. So we're going to subtract. 8 minus 0 is 8. Cannot do 1 minus 5, so we'll borrow. 11 minus 5 is 6. Okay, bring down your next digit. So how many times does 125 go into 687? So it's got to be less than 6, so let's try 5. I hope you're trying these with me too. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 625, perfect. So this is where it gets really important that your handwriting is neat and all of your numbers are lined up very nicely. So if you realize I brought the 7 down. Once I brought the 7 down, it goes into 687 times 5 times. So the 5 needs to go above the 7 in my quotient. It's super important that you have your decimals and your digits lined up correctly because it will totally change the number if it's not. So 5 times 125 is 625. Subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. Perfect. So bring down the 5. Oh, 625. Perfect. I know that it goes in 5 times equally or evenly. So 5 times 125 is 625. Subtract and you get 0. So 81.875 divided by 1.25 is 65.5. So do me a favor. We moved the decimals, so the numbers look completely different. I would like you to go and actually get your calculator out. Hopefully it's not out because you're not cheating, but I want you to get it out and actually type into your calculator the original problem to make sure that it works even though we moved the decimals. So 81.875 divided by 1.25, and you should get 65.5 in your calculator. So even though we moved the decimals and changed the numbers, it's still got you the same quotient or answer, okay? Copy that down if you did not do so already. If you're with me, then you do not need to pause, and we're just going to move on to the next one. So an electric company charges $0.15 for each kilowatt hour of energy. If your electric bill was $67.50, how many kilowatt hours of electricity did you use? So this you can do in your notebook or on the back of your graphic organizer, whatever you want to do. So we have our total bill, $67.50. So that's our total that goes inside our division house. And we're going to divide that by how much do you charge for each kilowatt, and then that will tell us how many kilowatts that you used. So you're going to divide by $0.15. So like I said before, we do not do math or division with the decimal in the divisor. We need to get rid of it. So we're going to move it to the right until it's no longer in the number. So it goes 2 places to the right. So if I move it twice to the right, that's 2 zeros. So I'm actually going to be multiplying by 100 again. Whatever you do in the divisor, you have to do in the dividend. So this 0.15 does become 15. And then we're going to multiply the dividend also by 100. So move the decimal once, twice, and that becomes 6,750. Okay? And so, one tip for you. Kids always forget to write the decimal. So the decimal ended up here, so it should actually fall right here in the problem. And do me a favor and just pop it up into your quotient, just in case there would be a remainder and we would need to add zeros to the end. I'm not sure if this one's going to do that, but I would always rather be safe, and you don't want to forget that the decimal is actually there, because a lot of times I forget. So it's very easy for you to forget as well. So we're going to divide like normal. We already popped up our decimal into the quotient, so we're good. So does 15 go into 6? Nope. Does 15 go into 67? Let's try 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. 4, perfect, 60. So it goes in 4 times. 4 times 15 is 60. Subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. 6 minus 6 is 0. I'm going to bring down the next digit, which is the 5. So how many times does 15 go into 75? We're going to go up one more and check 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5. Oh, perfect, 75. So it goes in 5 times. 5 times 15 is 75. Subtract, you get 0. Bring down your 0. Okay, so 15 doesn't go into 0, but I need to put something in my quotient just to make sure that everything is covered and we have the correct answer. So it goes in 0 times, and then I'm actually done. So we did not have a remainder in this one. I took it easy on you. So you used 450 kilowatt hours of electricity. Okay, make sure you pause and copy this down if you didn't do so yet. Maybe you should just get in the habit of doing it so you don't have to say it every time. I'll still say it every time though. Okay, we're going to do one more together, and then I'm going to have you practice some on your own. So we're going to divide 63.5 divided by 0.8. So first number goes inside. 63.5 divided by 0.8. So remember, we need to get rid of the decimal in the divisor. So in this instant, we're actually only moving it once to the right, and it becomes 8. And that's actually going to be multiplied, since we moved it once, we're going to multiply by 10, just 1 0. So same thing, multiply the dividend by 10, move it once to the right. So this would become 635. Don't forget the decimal stays after 635 and pops up to into our answer right there. Okay, so we pop the decimal up. That's always your first step. And then the next thing you want to do is just divide like normal. So does 8 go into 6? It does not. Does 8 go into 63? It goes in 7 times, because 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract. You cannot do 3 minus 6, so we're going to borrow. This becomes a 5. 3 becomes a 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. Bring down the 5. Does 8 go into 75? It does. It'll go in 9 times, because 9 times 8 is 72. Subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, so here's an instance. I didn't go easy on you. There is a remainder. So good thing we put the decimal into our answer, because we do have to add a 0 and bring it down, because we cannot write R3 anymore. So how many times does 8 go into 30? It'll go in 3 times, because 8 times 3 is 24. subtract. You cannot do 0 minus 4, so you borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. So still have a remainder. So we're still going to tack on another 0. Bring it down. How many times does 8 go into 60? 8 goes into 60 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. 0 minus 6 you cannot do, so you borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. Still have a remainder. Tack on another 0. I never said that you weren't going to do a lot of work, because you are. You will do a lot of work in my class. I apologize in advance, but it's only making you smarter. So, 8 goes into 45 times perfectly, because 5 times 8 is 40. We are done. Perfect. So 63.5 divided by 0.8 is 79.375. Okay, copy that down if you did not do so already. Okay, if you are all good and copied down, I would like you on page 127. There are 2 examples right here for you to look at if you completely forget what to do. If you notice they are moving the decimal in the problem, say they remind you how to do that. But what I want you to do right now is your turn. I want you to pause the video and do 5 and 6. It may take you a little bit, and that's okay. So pause it, do those 2, and when you come back, I will show you your work. So pause it and get to work. Okay. So hopefully you pause the video and you did 5 and 6 on the bottom of page 127. So here is my work for those 2 problems. You should have gotten 8.5 for number 5 and 18 for number 6. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions. This is definitely a new skill, so it may be a little bit more difficult. So feel free to email me if you want to go over more problems. Let me know in class if you're actually seeing me the following day if you need help. So to practice in your textbook, today's lesson is going to be a little bit longer than the previous days this week, but I have to give you one long day. So on page 128 in your textbook, you have 10 problems to do. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 16, 18, 19, and 20. So that is a lot to do. So do me a favor, I just want you to pick 5 out of those problems. So pick 5 of those, whatever 5 that you want to do. 1 must be a word problem. 1 must be a word problem. Okay, you're only doing 5 just to give you a little bit of a break since this is new. So once you are done those 5 problems, if you want to do more than 5 because you realize you need more practice, that's always an option. But requirement is 5. Check the answer key when you are done. And if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, you are done the lesson.